So, although today is November 27th, we're working a little bit behind for November 15th. This is going to be the first equation here. It's going to be solving an equation with the square root. If you do not remember how to solve an equation with the square root, I highly suggest getting your note sheet out. The equation in the red, the u squared plus 4 equals 13, that's solving equations with a square. That's what we're going to be learning to do today. I put it up there to kind of get you thinking about how you could possibly solve for the u squared. And then the simplified 5 squared and negative 5 squared, that's something that you should already know, but it's going to be helpful in today's lesson. So let's first take a look at the 4 plus 3 times the square root of 17 minus 3 equals 19. When we're solving equations with square roots, we're going to first circle my variable. We're going to go ahead and draw our line of equality. But what's the new step that you're also going to have to do here? Box just the square root. You're only going to put a box around the numbers that is under that square root sign. The whole reason why we put a box around the numbers or around the square root is because we have to get that square root by itself. So anything that's on the outside of the box, we first have to get rid of. Now, in order to pick if I'm going to get rid of the 4 or the 3 first, you would do order of operations backwards, which would be SADMAP. So which one of those, we're following order of operations backwards, which one of those numbers, 4 or 3, would I get rid of first?
4.
The 4. So how do I get rid of that 4? Yeah, I minus it. I subtract it. So whatever I do to one side of the line of equality, I must do to the other. So my 4's cancel. Then on my left side, I still bring down the 3 square root 17 minus 3. My equal sign. And then what's 19 minus 4?
Would you like it in the loyalty card?
No, I'll get it tomorrow when I get my free coffee.
It's 15.
Yeah, because that'll be a stamp. Okay, so it's 15. Good. Okay, so is my square root by itself yet?
No.
So now what do I have to get rid of? The 3. How do I do that?
Plus 3 above that?
Well, a 3 touching a parenthesis or a square root sign. Thank you. Divide that by 3. So I'm going to divide each side by 3. My 3's cancel. So again, on my left side, I bring down everything but that 3 because that 3 canceled out. So I have the square root of 7t minus 3 equals. Then on my right side, what's 15 divided by 3?
That's 5.
That is 5. Okay? I'll let you get caught up for a second. Okay. Now, is my square root by itself? Is that square root by itself?
No.
Are there any other numbers over here that's not part of that square root?
Yeah.
No, there's no other numbers over here that's not part of the square root. On my left side of the line of equality. So now I'm ready to move to step 2. Step 2 says I have to get rid of that square root sign. So how do I get rid of that square root sign?
You do plus 3 plus 5. No, the 2.
I'm going to square it. Because remember, the inverse operation of square root is square. And if I square one side of the line of equality, I have to square the other. So square and square root cancel. So then on my left side, I bring down the 7t minus 3. That's a little too close together there. 7t minus 3 equals. Then my right side, I have to simplify 5 squared. What's 5 squared going to be?
25.
25. And now we go back to 2 weeks ago, solving equations with 2 steps. So 17 minus 3 equals 25. What number do I get rid of next? The 3. How do I do that? Yep. My 3's cancel. I bring down my 7t. All right, what's 25 plus 3?
28.
And the last step? By. So t equals
21.
what?
4.
4. Did you subtract?
Yeah.
You sure did. That's all right. All right.
Lower.
All right. Once you have that down, go ahead and flip it over. Let's take a look at the back side.
What would you get 24 from?
Okay, so this is just kind of refreshing your memory on how to find squares. So what's 5 squared going to equal?
25.
Then what's negative 5 squared going to equal?
Negative 25. No, it's regular 25.
It's a regular 25. 2 negatives
Equals a positive.
equals a positive when you multiply. Now, in today's lesson, I'm going to take part of it out, but when you're solving equations with squares, you can end up with 2 answers. I'm only going to make you guys find 1 answer. I'm not going to make you do equations to find 2 answers. But the whole point of showing you that when you take a square and you could get the same answer ties into how can you get 2 answers when you solve an equation with a square root or with a square. So if I would tell you guys to find the square root of 25, what's the square root of 25? What number times itself equals 25? Or what?
2.
5 times 5 equals 25, but what else will equal 25?
1.
What about negative 5? If I take negative 5 times negative 5, will that equal 25? Yeah. So when you find the square root of a number, there's actually 2 possible answers. So if I say, what's the square root of 9? What's the square root of 9? Good. So the square root of 9 is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, or it could be what?
Negative 3.
Or it could be negative 3. So you could actually end up with 2 answers. Again, I'm only going to hold you guys responsible for 1 answer, though. Okay, let's look at solving an equation with a square. So I said this is going to be very similar to solving equations with square roots. So we're going to go ahead and circle our variable. We're going to draw our line of equality. Now, what did we do with our square root? What did we do with our square root after we circled our variable and drew our line of equality? What do we do to that square root? What do we put up around it?
Box.
A box. So we're going to go ahead and box what's being squared. So we're going to have the exact same rules here. The whole reason why I'm boxing my square is because I have to get that by itself before I can get rid of the square sign. Okay? So if I want to get this square by itself, I have to get rid of every other single number on the left side of the line of equality. So what number do I need to get rid of to get the square by itself? Okay? So how do I do that? I subtract 4. That cancels. So I bring down my u squared equals. Now, is my square by itself?
No.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. Is there any other number on the left side here?
No.
No. So the square is by itself. Now, what's the inverse operation for square root? What's the inverse operation for square root? We just did it. The first problem we did on this opener. Square.
Square.
So what's going to be the inverse operation of a square? What's the opposite of a square? A square root. So how am I going to get rid of a square sign? I'm going to square root it. Now, if I square root one side of the line of equality, I must square root the other. So now on my left side, my square root sign and square sign cancel. So I just have the variable u. I bring down my equal sign. Then what's the square root of 9? 3. Now, if you were in the COTOTS, I'd make you have 2 answers. The square root of 9 could be 3 or what?
Negative?
Or negative 3. But I'm not going to make you do all that stuff. So